If you're ready, it's time for a demonstration of flying an approach. We will be providing tips for flying VFR GPS procedure arrivals using the Avare GPS application, providing a universal standard arrival procedure with superior situational awareness, timed standard rate turns, and geo-referenced lateral guidance along a standardized arrival course. Prior to flying an approach procedure, we strongly encourage pilots to become totally familiar with the operation of Avare GPS functions and features. This series will provide the training necessary to accomplish this. The cardinal rule for flying these procedures that we wish to ingrain in the pilot's thought process is this: when flying the approach, do not fixate on the GPS. Fractional second glances and interpretations are all that's required for situational awareness. This is an obvious statement for instrument-rated pilots. However, for VFR-only pilots, the rule is here to ensure that no one will fixate on the GPS and forget to aviate. In order to accomplish this, spend ample time on the ground studying the approach screen so you'll know exactly where to glance when you want guidance information. The following tips are offered to help keep GPS eye fixation to a minimum and outside of the cockpit for see and avoid required when flying VFR. Understanding and practice is the key to increasing proficiency and instilling confidence when enhancing arrival methodology. Once mastered, the end result will be a reduced workload, which will increase the margin of safety and make our VFR arrivals much more enjoyable for pilots. VFR GPS Procedures, LLC, has endeavored to make the understanding and use of this enhancement as easy as possible. In this scenario, we'll be flying a short distance from Brooksville to Zephyr Hills with a full stop landing at Zephyr Hills. Assume we have completed our 3D pre-flight planning just prior to departure and have determined the winds are favoring ZPH Zephyr Hills runway 19. We'll be departing Brooksville on runway 21, requesting a southeast departure for Zephyr Hills. The goal of this scenario is to demonstrate the following. 1. Loading and activating Zephyr Hills runway 19 approach procedure within the Avare plan section. We recommend loading the destination arrival procedure during the pre-flight planning stage or prior to launch. We have, however, chosen in this demonstration to show loading the procedure in the air using our recommended 6-step process to eliminate GPS eye fixation and show the ease in which this can be accomplished. 2. Maneuvering from en route to cross over the VIAF waypoint for proper alignment, entry altitude, and airspeed. Establishing a 90-knot ground speed and traffic pattern altitude plus 1,000 feet at the V3AF waypoint for a 2-minute, 500 feet per minute stabilized descent to the midfield entry waypoint. 3. Demonstrate the blinking time to turn screen using peripheral vision to start standard rate turns. 4. Use of the track and bearing lines extended from the aircraft icon center point to minimize GPS eye fixation. We've departed the Brooksville Airport, BKV, to the southeast
And now, outside of DKV airspace, our request for frequency change has been approved. After verifying with ASOS, CTAF, and/or ADS-BN, we've confirmed that our pre-flight planning paid off and ZPH Runway 19, with an established right-hand traffic pattern, is the best runway for our arrival. The winds are from 200 at 12 knots. Our procedures are automatically updated on the FAA NFDC 56-day schedule. In the middle of runway renovation, the old runway 18 marking has not been changed to 19 yet. Let's now load and activate the ZPH Runway 19 procedure so that the approach will appear on Avare's map page. We recommend orienting the map in a track-up mode for ease of tracking along the approach lines. Based on our experience, we recommend the following thought process when loading a new procedure while in the air. This 6-step recommendation is to keep GPS eye fixation to a minimum. First, tap the Plan tab on the bottom of the screen to bring up Save Plans. Then, Eyes, back outside. Second, scroll to the bottom of the page and locate ZPH Runway 19 and press Load. Eyes, back outside. Third, scroll to the top of the page to verify that the 6 waypoints are loaded for ZPH 19. Eyes, back outside. Fourth, press the Inactive Active button at the bottom center of the screen to activate the plan. Verify that it toggled to active, which will allow it to be seen on the map page. Eyes, back outside. Fifth, press the Map tab at the bottom left of the screen to see the procedure on the map. Eyes, back outside. Pinch to zoom, drag to pan the map to the desired level, and commence maneuvering to the VIAF waypoint using the bearing line and track lines shown from the aircraft icon center point. The very first time you fly a procedure, you'll feel a reduction in workload maneuvering to the VIAF waypoint. There's no longer a lot of mental calculations required to make sure you're somewhere near a 45-degree entry for runway 19. This is the first workload reduction facet of the procedure. We'll be maneuvering to the VIAF waypoint using the GPS black and white dashed bearing line and the red dashed track line emanating from the center of the aircraft icon to align us in close proximity to the procedure compass course at traffic pattern altitude plus 1,000 feet at VREF of 90 knots ground speed. If you've been flying the en route phase with your GPS in the north up mode, we recommend switching to the track up mode for flying the procedure. As you can see, our first sequenced waypoint is the VIAF, the Visual Initial Approach Fix. When we get our flash to turn indicator, we want to come to a compass heading of 051 degrees. And once again, for reinforcement, this is Zephyr Hills Runway 19. We should be getting our flash to turn momentarily. There it is. Now the next sequence waypoint that we'll come to will be the V3AF waypoint. It's designated V3AF because of its proximity to the midfield entry waypoint being 3 nautical miles. And you can see in the label of the V3AF waypoint, when we get our flash to turn, we want to be turning to, if we're not already established, on a 051 degrees compass heading. And it also reinforces in its label, it is Zephyr Hills Runway 19. We strive to be stable crossing the V3AF, where we commence a 500 feet per minute descent to the MFE waypoint. This is a 2-minute descent, and all that's needed is fractional second glances at the GPS for situational awareness. We're correcting our compass heading to adjust for any crosswinds, which in this case is from our right. We make fractional second glances to see how our corrections are working. Keep in mind, our main objective is aviate, navigate, and communicate. See and avoid. Do not fixate on the GPS. And you can see 12 o'clock dead ahead. Our next sequenced waypoint is the MFE, the Midfield Entry Waypoint. It's identified by the green dot, and its label identifies it as the midfield entry. And when we get our time to turn flash indicator, we will be turning left at 1/2 standard rate, because this is not a 90-degree turn. It's a 45-degree turn, but we do want to be at 1,090 feet MSL, which is the traffic pattern altitude for ZPH Runway 19. Keep in mind, our objective here is to see and avoid. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Eyes outside. Once the time to turn screen flashes, we announce our turn to downwind, start an immediate left turn to 1/2 standard rate, since this is only a 45-degree turn again, and we'll need to roll out on our new compass heading of 006 degrees. After rolling out on our new compass heading of 006 degrees for the downwind, we can start slowing to a new VREF for the downwind leg and do our normal routines, which typically occur abeam the numbers. We should be getting our flash to turn indicator momentarily. There it is. When we see that time to turn flash, we announce our turn, start an immediate left turn at 1/2 standard rate, because again, it's only a 45-degree turn, and roll out on a new compass heading of 006 degrees. After slowing to a new VREF for the downwind leg and doing our normal routines, which typically occur at the abeam the numbers, we can now set the power and flaps for our stabilized descent to achieve 590 feet MSL. That's 500 AGL plus airport elevation at the final turn. Occasionally glancing at our course line for situational awareness. As you can see, our next sequence waypoint is the base waypoint. And when we get our time to turn flash, we'll start an immediate right turn at standard rate to a new compass heading for the base leg of 096 degrees. And the label reinforces it is Zephyr Hills Runway 19. As soon as we get the flash, we announce our turn to base and start a full standard rate turn rolling out on 096. And make our wind correction using the GPS for situational awareness. We monitor our altitude and airspeed. Remember, eyes outside, see and avoid, and wait for the next time to turn flash. Our next sequenced waypoint is the final waypoint. When we get the time to turn flash at the final waypoint, we communicate our turn, verify our altitude of 590 feet MSL, and start a standard rate turn to a compass heading of 186 degrees to align with the runway center line. There it is. We check our alignment with the runway and maintain our final VREF airspeed of +5, -0 knots. The GPS procedure has finished its job of safely delivering us to touchdown. Our margin of safety has been greatly increased. The workload has been greatly reduced. Your passengers marvel at your smooth, composed flying skills, and you've enjoyed the arrival as you feel your confidence grow each time you log more time using VFR GPS procedures.